Hi. I just wanted to talk about some of the books that I've been reading this year. It's not a lot. My goal is to my goal this year is to read, I think, 10 new books. Hang on, I have it written down. I made myself this really cute collage journal. Yeah, my goal this year is to read 10 new books, and I've only read 2, but it's only April, so I'm not that worried about it. But I have read, I've reread some books, so I'm not not reading. It's just that I'm reading books that I know I like. But the first book, hang on, I have to get out this. My hair looks weird. I have to get out this. This is my tracker and everything. It's like a bullet journal. I used to bullet journal all the time in high school, and I don't really anymore, but I really want to get back into the practice. Okay, yeah. So the first book I read this year was a reread. It was The Secret Garden by what's her name? Frances Hodgburn? I'm not really sure. I'm sorry. But that one's always good. It always makes me feel less alone. And I don't care about gardens. I care about that book. And my husband's a gardener. So I guess I do care, but in a girlfriend kind of a way, you know? And then the second book I read this year was the first new book. I read The Help by Kathryn Stockett, I think her last name is. It was fine. I don't know, I guess I entirely understand why it got to be such a huge book, and everything. It was a fun read. That was the first book since middle school that I literally just sat and I read it all the way through. What was I saying? Yeah, but I don't know. It was just a book. It was a fun read. I'm not gonna read it again. I don't think there's books where I can just reread and reread and reread. And this was a one night stand of a book, you know. And I also I haven't watched the movie, but I keep getting clips on my YouTube shorts of it, and I do think it's incredibly strange the pieces they chose to change and how they chose to change them, because in the book, oh gosh, I can't remember any of the characters' names. I'm not even gonna try, because I'll say something weird and it won't be right. Yeah, but I just thought it was the change from book to movie was kind of sus. But that was a fun read. I think I rated it hang on. Yeah, so I read that one in February, the very beginning of February, and I rated it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I accidentally drew 6 stars instead of 5, so I don't know if I gave it 5 or 4 stars, or 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6. Either way, it was a good read, but not something I'd read again. And then in February, for the rest of February, in January, I tried reading Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora and Neale. And it's a book I want to read really badly, but I can tell it's one that I'm gonna have to really settle into, because Books and Cats has a really cool video about it. That's my favorite book channel ever. Yeah. So that review made me want to go read it. But I have a hard time getting into books where the language isn't exactly how I talk, and that's not unique, and that doesn't stop me from reading them. It just makes it a little more difficult for me to get into it. And like this book specifically is written in a way that's meant to like preserve the specific dialect. So it's like kind of hard to get into when you're reading it silently. So like I have to read it aloud. And so I'm still like waiting to like be ready for that book, I think, because I know I'll like it. I just can't like it right now, if that makes sense. I didn't update my journal at all in February or March. That's fine though, because I remember. So I'm on like so I'm on Tumblr for like a lot of different things, but oh my gosh. But specifically for the Anne of Green Gables book series, not Anne with an E, because I don't like Anne with an E. I'm sorry if you do. That's allowed. I just don't. But someone on Tumblr organized an Anne of the Island book club, so we all like went through chapter by chapter reading it, and it was like crazy fun. And the Anne of Green Gables book series is like one of the ones where I can just like reread it and reread it and reread it. I've had this copy since I think I was like 12. I got it for Christmas one year. Because I just like kept rechecking copies from the library. So my parents just like got me a whole set, which was like so nice. But Anne of the Island, I think, is my favorite book right now. And I am, oh my gosh, it like smells like book. And I am planning a fan fiction I'm gonna write. Okay, so Anne says yes to Roy. And for those of you that haven't read this, I'm so sorry. You're just going to have to read it so you understand what I'm saying. But Anne says yes to Roy when he proposes. And then they, like, go through life together. And then, when they're, like, I don't know, 45, Roy has a heart attack. And then Anne has to, like, move back home to Avonlea. And her and Gilbert reconnect. And they have, like, this really cute thing going on. And that's about as much as I've planned out. But I really like stories. I like love stories that don't focus on like 20-year-olds, you know? Yeah, so that's read Anne of the Island. Read Anne of the Island. It's really, really good. And it's amazing. I think everyone has a lot to learn from Anne of the Island, specifically Philippa Gordon. Okay, and the book I'm reading, well, yeah, I have like half a chapter left, so I'm just reviewing it now. The book I'm reading right now is called Sitcom, A History in 24 Episodes from I Love Lucy to Community. And it's by Saul Austerlitz. And I'm so sorry. It's like Better Call Saul and then Austerlitz. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it has been like a crazy fun read, and I'm trying to watch TV less, so this felt like a really good step away, because I could just read about television. And I like learned a lot of really cool fun stuff in this book. Like I Love Lucy invented the multi-camera sitcom, which is which is like crazy cool. And I already knew that like Lucille Ball like pioneered like a crazy amount of television. Like she was the first person to like show pregnancy on TV and like make it less of a big deal. And like, yeah, so that's like really cool. I think that was my favorite chapter, and I'm gonna tell you some of the different shows in here. The author, I will say, is like crazy into Seinfeld and doesn't let you forget how crazy he is into Seinfeld. Because like every chapter and like no matter how unrelated it is, he will find a way to mention Seinfeld. And then you get to the Seinfeld chapter, and he is like, this is the greatest show ever written, except the finale. Everyone hates the finale. I've never seen Seinfeld. He described the finale. It sounded fine to me. But what do I know? Yeah, I Love Lucy, Leave It to Beaver. The Dick Van Dyke Show was one. He talks about the Dick Van Dyke Show and the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And now I like really want to watch those. He also mentions MASH, obviously. Cheers. The Simpsons, which was like crazy fun to read about because I like The Simpsons. Seinfeld. Friends, Sex and the City, Arrested Development, The Office, and the last chapter is Community. And this book was published in like 2014. Yeah, but it's a good book, and like the author is like a little full of himself at times, and it comes off as like kind of pretentious, but it's still like a fun read. And it's like, hang on, so like that's the density. That's the density of what we're working with. So it's not like, I would classify it as a beach read, actually, because the material is so light. It's just like, this is what this sitcom did for society and how it was different. Anyway, Seinfeld. So that was really fun, and I like it a lot. And next up on my my to-read list, I got like a bunch of different books from the library. So I'm gonna finish this, and then I have like, I have a book of essays about like the queer perspective of horror movies and stuff, which sounds really cool, but also like books of essays are like kind of iffy. And then I have Trash, A Poor White Journey, which is about like growing up white trash in Washington State, and then A Short History of Drunkenness, which sounds fun. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys on if I actually read any of those. Bye.